Hey everyone, welcome to Inspired by Icons, the podcast where we explore real lessons from iconic people so you can grow, improve, and live with more purpose. Today's story starts at rock bottom. Okay, picture this for a second. You're really at the absolute lowest point. You check your wallet,
Yeah.
and there's exactly $7 in there. That's it. No job, no clear path forward. Just this huge sense of uncertainty, frustration even. This was Dwayne Johnson. Long before, the fame, the movies, all of that, it was this moment that, honestly, it could have just shattered him. But instead, well, it became the launch pad for this incredible transformation.
Yeah, that image it's really stark, isn't it? I mean, for most people, finding yourself there, that kind of vulnerability, especially after a dream like his football career just fizzled out, that would be utterly crushing for almost anyone. But what our sources really dig into is how for Johnson, this wasn't an ending at all. It became this catalyst, a huge psychological pivot point.
And that's really what we want to explore in this deep dive, right? We're looking at the shifts, the insights from the material we've studied that let him go from that specific, desperate moment, $7, to becoming, well, one of the most successful, hardest working people out there.
Yeah.
And the research, the stories, they make it so clear. This wasn't just luck. It wasn't just talent. It was about specific internal changes he made, mindset, discipline, and this powerful belief he built up. So to really get the scale of this change, we need to appreciate just how low that moment was. After that short football career in Canada didn't work out, he comes home, broke. And that moment he talks about finding just $7,
Yeah.
it wasn't just about being broke financially. It kind of symbolized this complete lack of anything solid, no external validation, no direction.
And what's really telling when you look at the analysis is how he processed it. For him, it didn't signal defeat. It actually became like a literal starting line and a symbolic one too. I mean, he talks about it constantly. He even named his production company $7 Productions.
Yeah.
It's this perfect example of what psychologists call cognitive reframing. He consciously changed the narrative. That tiny amount of money wasn't about poverty or failure. It became his anchor, the origin story for his comeback. He basically owned the failure. And by doing that, he took away its power to define him in a negative way.
Wow. So he took what could have been this weight, this anchor of despair,
Yeah.
and literally turned it into fuel, a springboard.
Okay.
Okay, but the big question then is, what did he do?
Yeah.
How did he use that fuel? Our sources point to three really big shifts he made. And the first one, it's all about the sheer power of discipline. Even with all that uncertainty swirling around, no job, no money, no clue what's next, he made this decision, a non-negotiable commitment to just show up
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah. And that's where the real sort of practical application comes in. It wasn't just a vague idea like, I'll try harder. The material we looked at really highlights this wasn't about waiting for motivation. We all know how unreliable that is.
Right. It comes and goes.
Exactly. He committed to what you might call identity-based habits. He decided, okay, I'm the kind of person who shows up, full stop.
Oh.
So whether that meant hitting the gym when he felt completely discouraged.
Which must have been often.
Oh, absolutely. Or going to auditions he probably felt totally unqualified for. Or taking meetings that seemed pointless. He treated these things like they were essential, non-negotiable tasks, didn't matter how he felt. And that consistency, that ritualistic action, even when things look bleak, that built serious momentum, which is something, most people really struggle with when the rewards aren't immediate.
And that's such a stark contrast to how many of us operate, isn't it? We tend to wait for inspiration to strike, or, we wait until we feel ready. He just didn't. He built that consistency right in the middle of the chaos. It really shows that discipline often comes before motivation, not the other way around.
Yeah.
It's about just taking that first step, even if it feels hard or small.
Definitely. And then there's this other fascinating piece from our sources. His really deliberate use of strategic visualization. And this goes way beyond just like thinking positive thoughts.
Okay.
He didn't just hope things would work out. He actively engaged in what some psychologists call pre-visualization or mental rehearsal. And this involved creating these incredibly vivid, like multi-sensory mental pictures.
So not just vague dreaming, like what kind of details are we talking about?
Well, the accounts suggest he wouldn't just picture himself getting a movie role. He'd imagine the specific feelings, the weight of the script, the sounds on set, the cameras humming, the crew's reactions,
Oh.
even picturing himself standing in huge stadiums, connecting with the crowd. He built this whole mental movie really detailed, right down to the exact emotional response he wanted.
Okay, that's much more intense than just thinking positive.
It really is. And it's not just, fluffy stuff. It actually works on your brain. It primes it. It activates the same neural pathways as if you were really doing it, which makes you more likely to spot opportunities, more resilient when things go wrong. He was basically giving his brain, specifically the reticular activating system, a very clear target to aim for. If you don't tell your mind what to focus on, it can just spiral.
That's a really powerful distinction.
Yeah.
So visualizing the process, too, not just the end result, making it feel real, attainable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this intense discipline, this clear strategic vision. But our sources also highlight another powerful tool he used. It's about how he thought about setbacks, how he reframed them.
Yes, absolutely central. His refusal to see that $7 moment as the final word, as ultimate defeat, seeing it instead as a pivot point, that's really the core of developing what we call an internal locus of control.
Meaning taking responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of blaming circumstances, my football career failed, I have no money, he took ownership of his response to it. That $7 wasn't a symbol of a dead end. It became the actual foundation for everything he built next. Which is why, like we said, he still talks about it. It's the origin story for his entire empire. He owns it.
So it really comes down to thinking differently. Believing, truly believing, that your current situation doesn't lock in your potential. That $7 could easily have just dragged him down, but he made a conscious choice to turn it into a launch pad. So maybe you're listening and thinking, okay, great for him. He's the rock. That's unique.
Sure.
But here's the thing. The sources suggest there are clear, actionable lessons here that anyone can apply. We've distilled 3 key takeaways.
First one, and maybe the most fundamental, show up, no matter what. Motivation, like we said, it comes and goes, it's fickle. But discipline, that consistent act of doing the thing anyway, that's what builds real, unstoppable momentum, even if it's something small. Like commit to just 10 minutes a day on that goal that feels overwhelming. Consistency beats intensity often. Just lower the barrier to getting started.
Right. Just start. Okay, takeaway number 2.
Practice active visualization. Don't just work hard blindly and hope for the best. Really picture your goal clearly. And like we discussed, don't just see the outcome. Imagine the process, the sensory details, whether it's nailing that job interview or feeling a certain way or achieving a lifestyle. Make it feel real in your mind first. See yourself doing the work, feeling the success.
Got it. Make it vivid. And the 3rd lesson.
Consciously reframe failure. Remember that rock bottom moment. If you hit one, it isn't the end. It's actually a starting line. When you face a setback, and you will, don't just dwell on the loss. Actively ask yourself, okay, what can I learn here? What specific insight can I pull from this?
How can this inform my next step?
Precisely. Use that learning to move forward. Know that every challenge, every apparent failure, it actually holds a potential lesson, a seed for growth, maybe a whole new direction.
It's powerful stuff. I mean, Dwayne Johnson had every reason to just give up right there. $7 and a failed dream. But he deliberately, consciously turned that pain into power. And the point is, you, the listener, you have that same basic capacity inside you to transform your own challenges.
Yeah. So maybe reflect on this. What small, challenging moment in your own life right now?
Yeah.
What moment, if you looked at it differently, if you committed to that discipline, could actually become your most powerful starting line? What vital insight, what new path might be waiting right there inside that experience, just waiting for you to uncover it?
Well said, Jess. That's all for today. If this episode inspired you, share it with a friend who needs a little encouragement. And if you want help building a rock-solid morning routine like the Rocks, check out the planner linked in the description. It's a great tool to build daily discipline. Thanks again for listening to Inspired by Icons. We'll see you next time, where we'll unpack another story of grit, growth, and greatness.